So they just showed us a couple of clips. So it seems obvious that your character is familiar with James Brolin's character in the film. You have a previous relationship.
We're friends from school days, like prep school, and we've been friends. We stayed in touch up until the point when he disappears. Actually, I'm one of the last people that sees him before he disappears. And then when he shows up, when he resurfaces, he shows up in my bar as I'm running. I own and operate a pub, and he comes, and I help him kind of land, and help him try to figure out what happened, and try to get him back into society again. That's really my function.
So did you get to see the original film?
I didn't see it, no.
You didn't feel there was a need to look at that, or?
No, I never do that kind of thing. I always feel like it's better to start from scratch.
You're not the guy who likes to read the book, or?
No, I'd rather go into it. With open, just completely open. No preconceptions.
Speaking of the Korean version, as we see more from this version, it seems there's kind of a layer of, thematics and even social commentary about America and American life. Can you talk about any of that and maybe what grabbed you in the script about that?
I don't know if it's necessarily American. I think it's modern society in general, and about, to me it's about karma. Maybe that's why there's a Buddha there, because it's, this guy was not a good guy. He was kind of an asshole, and does his punishment, does the crime deserve that kind of punishment? I don't know, but I think you realize that you set certain things in motion through your actions in the world, and can he redeem himself? He suffered, he paid his, he did his punishment, and now can he kind of redeem, go beyond that, rather than just pay back a debt? Can he go beyond that and become, a human being again?
So where did your character find itself if it's a friend of his and yet also is aware of what kind of an asshole he is?
Yeah, it's something that he tolerated, and just kind of like, it's ironic because I own a bar and he has a drinking problem, and I think that's that's kind of a tricky thing, right? He could be a really good customer, but you're doing him a favor or a disservice, by serving him and stuff like that. But I think, it's they have such a history that he kind of forgives that kind of side of him.
Did you have any kind of preparation time with James?
We rehearsed before production began in New Orleans. I was there for a few days, but they were there for quite longer, because specific stuff involving specific characters, and that's great because we got to spend time together. I didn't know Josh, actually.
Oh, Josh, that's right. That's his dad.
His dad wasn't there.
Dad wasn't there, yeah.
I got to spend time. We got to hang out. We did a little bonding and had, got on really well, and with the other actors as well. But it was good to just delve into the script and particularly dialogue. And I've worked with. This was the 6th film I did with Spike, so I'm kind of used to his process, and I always look forward to that. And it's really kind of seeing how the words come out of your mouth, and Spike really encourages a lot of input, which a lot of people are surprised when they hear that, because they think of Spike as someone who runs a very tight ship, which he does, but you can be as creative as you want, and he encourages that. And you can rewrite dialogue and come up with stuff. If he doesn't like it, he'll tell you, but he wants that kind of input, and that's really fun.
Since this was not, an original script of his, but something that came from somewhere else, did he have some other insights or takes on this that he shared with you guys that you can share with us?
Not necessarily. I think he loved the script. I think he was pretty much, from my point of view, like I said, the dialogue, he likes it to be tailored to the actor, but the story, plot plot was pretty much. I think the themes were pretty much laid down by Mark.
What was your reaction after finishing the script? The original was a punch to the gut by the time you get to the end.
Man.
So when you closed the script, what were your feelings?
It was shocking. It was.
So you
really
did finally
good.
see the original?
No, I just from reading the script.
From reading the script.
Yeah, it was quite shocking and disturbing. Really disturbing.
You've worked with Spike, like you said, so many times, and so I'm sure you're familiar with that. Doesn't often get said, but visually, he's very good about kind of pushing the bar visually. Is there anything you saw that from footage you've seen of this film that kind of, as he said, the bar topped himself in any kind of way?
I think it's a departure for him because it's based on originally a graphic novel, and I think there's kind of that heightened sense of reality and the certain tone, visually, colors that pop in that kind of graphic novel way, which is really exciting. And I think he really embraced it as, we're not just making a gritty reality kind of driven movie. It's almost taking place in this alternate universe. And from what I saw, I was really excited.
Did the visuals drive the film?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, with Spike, he's a very much a character-driven director and loves actors, and so you're going to get that combination. I think that's what's really exciting. He's not. I mean, Spike Lee is not the first name you would probably think about redoing Oldboy.
It wasn't
actually,
my first thought. Yeah.
I don't think. I think it was. Apparently, I heard at one time Steven Spielberg wanted to do it with Will Smith.
Spielberg and Will Smith, yeah.
And see how far. It's a pretty different situation, but I think that's what's really exciting, and I think that's what's amazing about Spike is that he's willing to, and now he's doing something that he raised on Kickstarter for,
That's right, yeah.
And the one before Red Summer was like he did for like $500,000 or something. Like he's willing to really play in very different arenas, and I think that's what makes him a great artist.
Did you kick in for Kickstarter?
No, I didn't.
Just thought I'd ask.
I guess I didn't need to.
That's true.
Can you talk about how physical your role is in this movie?
Okay, it's not so physical. I mean, there is one very physical scene. I don't know if I should say what it is because I might give something away. But no, it was more really kind of connecting with Josh. I mean, that really was my way in with the character and really just being kind of a lifeline for him.
Did you rehearse?
Yeah.
A lot of rehearsal?
I did a few days. They did, the whole company in general did a couple of weeks. I mean, Spike always has a rehearsal.
Yeah, I know.
I think it's very valuable.
But you guys are pretty intuitive at this point.
Yeah.
You and Spike.
Yeah, it's great. It felt really good. I hadn't worked with him in a long time, but I'd done so much before that it felt kind of just natural being back with him.
I had a question about the dialogue specifically. Were there any one-liners, whether you said them or someone else said them, that really resonated with you, or that maybe summed up the movie to you?
Oh, that's a good question. I can't think of one offhand. That's probably a good question for Mark, since he wrote all of them. He'd probably have a much better memory than me. And I haven't seen the final cut yet. When they were screening in LA, I was working, so I didn't get to see it. I mean, I've seen some scenes that I was in for the ADR sessions and stuff, which stuff looked really cool.
What were you working on? You said you were working on something else.
I was doing Californication, and then I did a movie in Mexico City, so I was out of the country for a little. I think when they screened it in LA, I was out of the country.
What was the movie?
It's a Mexican movie about Cantinflas. You know who he was?
Oh yeah, Cantinflas. Sure, of course.
It's a movie about his life, and I play Mike Todd.
Wow.
Oh, how cool.
That's an interesting contrast from Oldboy.
Very interesting. Yeah, it's a Mexican production, and I think I was one of the. Wasn't that many American actors.
One of the big Mexican directors?
No, he has one movie out. It's his second movie. I think he's going to be one of the big ones. Yeah.
Who's playing Cantinflas?
Oscar Janada, who was in The Last Pirates. He played the Spaniard, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Interesting.
Which was a big controversy because he's from Spain.
Right.
And Cantinflas is a beloved Mexican.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So
The ultimate icon.
They were,
Yep.
people were very skeptical. I said, well, look, we had a British guy play Abraham Lincoln, and that worked out pretty good. But I think everybody, the crew and the cast, the actors, mostly from Mexico City were the actor, they were all really impressed. I was blown away by this guy. The first time I saw him on set, I couldn't believe it. He was so spot on.
Were you saying this is a very character-driven movie, but the original was violent to not an extreme extent, but it was important to the film. Is it important to this version of the film?
Yeah, it's violent. I mean, I think that is part of the story, part of the themes, And I think it's unfortunately part of the world we live in. I mean, because of technology. Look, you had that. Just the first thing pops in my head: the bikers that attacked the guy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, 20, 30 years ago, you never would see images of that.
Nope.
Right? So those kind of things we live with on a much more. I mean, you see beheadings when they have terrorists do that shit. Much more aware in this society of that and immune to it to some degree, or gradually getting immune to. I think a lot of that stuff. So. I think that's why this plays such a role in this film. It's one of the elemental to the storylines.
Did you get to use the baseball bat?
I tried to.
Or did they beat you up with it?
I tried to use a baseball bat. I didn't succeed very well. No.
Did it give you a new take on life from sort of with a Buddhist perspective by getting to use or not use?
It's always
samurai. They're
right.
But they still have that whole meditative.
It's actually getting to act those things is a good outlet. It's like therapeutic, so you don't have to do it in life.
Exactly.
Well, how does Josh work in comparison to how you work as actors? Was there some overlap, or do you guys kind of approach things a little differently?
I think we both kind of come from a similar place. I think for him it was a very physically demanding role, and that was he had to gain weight, lose weight, gain weight. He came from one movie where he was ripped, and then he had to kind of, I think, lose I forget but it was like insane. I mean, he was on some crazy diets and working out crazy, and so. And that becomes a whole other part of your work. I mean, I didn't have to do that. I was in New Orleans eating, po' boys and stuff.
There you go.
I didn't really worry about anything.
Po' boy. Were you thinking, now that you see the Kickstarter example, that you could be raising the money for the next movie you direct?
I don't know. I'm a little concerned about the whole Kickstarter thing. I find it to be, I think it's something that's very easy to scam people on. I think,
there's a lot of it.
Yeah, but you can kind of track it.
What's to prevent people from doing this, right? I want to raise $100,000. So people start putting money. Mm-hmm. They put $50,000, and I tell someone else to put it up, and then you get the money, right? Maybe I raise $75,000. I tell someone else, you put $25,000, I'll pay you back. So now I get $75,000 from investors. Mm-hmm. I pay the other person back, and then I don't make the movie.
Then you're in trouble, or we're in trouble.
And who's overseeing that, right? Some guy who sends you $5? No. It's weird, right? It's a very weird concept.
Are you planning on directing something new? Anything in your mind underway?
I wrote a pilot that I've been pitching, and I would love to direct it if we get to do it. But I have a couple more places. There's one place that's interested. We'll see. But that's a whole Kickstarter is a bizarre concept. I mean, it's kind of great, but I would imagine some kind of regulations are going to have to.
I think there is some talk underway.
It's so easy to commit fraud under those kind of when you have people just sending money.
What can you tell us about your Californication role?
I play a TV showrunner, writer, ex-cop who moves to Hollywood and hates what he's doing. He's bitter and angry, and he's running a TV show called Santa Monica Cop, which is a really bad detective show, as it sounds.
Oh god.
Yeah.
But it was
Santa Monica Cop.
Santa Monica Cops, rollerblading, cops rollerblading stuff. But it's really fun. That was a blast. It's a
Little
great
shorts and stuff like that.
in shorts and
And what's the interaction with the pug name?
I hire him
Do the script for the show.
to write, to be one of the writers. Yeah, and
Last question.
and hijinks ensue from that. Right?
Yeah,
It was really fun.
If you could say there's one overlying tone of the entire film, what would you say it is?
I'd say it's like, I think it's karma.
Yeah.
You know, cause and effect. That's my take. I'm sure Mark probably has a much different one and much more articulate about it.
Now, since we've talked about a bunch of different things, can you tell us what's exactly next? Or what's coming down the pike that you know is going to actually come out besides this? Because you mentioned a bunch of different things.
Besides this,
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of get them in a little order, or get a little sense of what's.
Californication is in April. The Canteen Plus, I don't know when that's probably next year.
Is that movie Foreclosure coming out?
That just got picked up
Oh, yeah?
at Toronto,
Good.
I think. Well, we made that a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, that's right, Mac.
Yeah,
That's coming out, right. You came onto the
Yeah.
set, that's right. That's finally coming out. A couple of the indie stuff. One that was a graphic novel called The Scribbler. I don't know if any of you heard of that, which the lead actress is the daughter of David Cassidy.
really?
I forget her first name.
Cool.
And Sasha Grey's in it, and some really good actors. And they're really going for a graphic novel look. It was very visual movie. It looked pretty cool. See what happens.
Sounds like you got a bunch of good choices.
Yeah, we'll see.
You're going to do a graphic novel?
I was having a discussion with someone who said it's a really good way to sell a series.
Yeah.
Obviously, Walking Dead's the best example, but
Yep.
someone who's actually written a pilot and then went and made a graphic novel and then got it sold because of that, because of the success of the graphic novel. So maybe it's not a bad idea if it's the right material.
Well, we'll be looking forward to
All
it.
right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael.
Anyhow, it's a
Appreciate
pleasure
that.
to see you again. I think you remember we did that live on the stage.